Hello and welcome to the Round Lake Area Library's program, Cardboard Cacti. What you'll need to participate is cardboard, paint, paintbrush, pencil, scissors, and some sort of a container to put the plant in, plus gravel or rocks. Optional, you can add pom-poms or rhinestones or paper to make flowers or to decorate your cactus. First thing you're going to do is choose the shapes that you're going to want to use for your cacti, and I drew out some rough shapes onto my piece of cardboard here. If you watch this video all the way through, I will show you the different techniques we're going to use to slot them together. So then you can decide and then restart and draw your shapes on your cardboard. I'm using my green and black paint, mixing it together to make it slightly darker, and this is going to be what I'm using to paint my saguaro cactus. If you got a kit from us, you received yellow, white, black, and green, and the combination of those should give you a wide range of colors of green that you can use for various different types of cacti. Mine are not exact replicas of the actual cactus. They're just freehand drawings, and you don't have to be exact. Anything will do here. You don't have to have a perfect cactus with this. The arms can be anywhere, and I am going to make two and slot them together, so the arms don't even have to line up at all. It'll just depend on what direction you're looking at it where the arms are. The most important thing to do at this point is to make sure that you leave a long segment, a couple inches at least, to go down into the plant pot so that it has something to hold it into the gravel, sort of like your pretend roots. You don't need to paint that part, but you can if you'd like. As an option as well, you can cut your cacti out before painting them. Might make it a little bit easier. You're going to flip it over and paint the other side too. What I chose to do was to paint one side. When that dries, I will cut it out and then flip it over and paint the other side. There's no wrong way, whatever you're happy with. Next, I'm going to mix up some of the dark green into my white paint to make a lighter mint green for the next one. This one, I don't actually even know what the cactus is. It's round and it has pokey things on it, and there are round things that come out of it. That's all I really know, and that's how I'm going to paint it. One other important thing is, if you're waiting for the back to dry, don't get rid of that paint. You're going to need that exact same color to paint the other side. So save some of that for the other side and don't use it up. I find it's really helpful to keep wet wipes of some type around. Just having a dry paper towel is not always exactly what you need. Wet wipes will get things, paints especially, off of your paintbrush. It will get it off of your table, it'll get it off of your hands very easily. So I like to keep those handy. For this design, it's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to have one large circle with a wedge that goes down into the gravel, and instead of having a second circle the same size to slot together with it, I'm going to make smaller circles that will come off of the top of that. You'll see a little bit more clearly later on, but I'm doing multiple circles in different sizes. One of the drawbacks of using acrylic is how long it takes to dry, especially if you need to put on more than one coat. And sometimes you might, because your cardboard might have printing on it, or the paint might be a little lighter in color. So if you need to do multiple coats, feel free to do that. And this could take a couple hours, if not overnight, for it to dry completely. I always tell people, just in case you need to touch things up tomorrow, don't toss out the paint from the containers. You might need them, you might have to remix and try and match up your colors, but just don't get rid of them completely. While my circle cactus is drying, I am going to mix colors to make my third cactus, and this one will have a completely different shape, and it'll be kind of a medium green. Yellow enhances the green in a lot of good ways, and it looks a little bit more like realistic foliage instead of that minty light green color that green and white make. So don't be shy about adding some yellow to your coloring. My third cactus is just going to be a tall, narrow shape. You don't have to make it exactly like me. You can make them in all different kinds of shapes and sizes, whatever your heart desires. Consider doing 3 of the same cactuses in different shades of green. That would look kind of cool. Or all the same colors but different sizes. Or don't use green at all. Use some psychedelic colors and make them a little funky. Whatever you'd like to do, these are your cacti. I've even seen some cool paintings of cacti with eyes and faces on them, so that might be something you want to consider for maybe a child's room or your own, whatever makes you happy. For this one, it's just going to be the tall, thin shape, so I'm going to make 2 exactly the same, and then I'm going to split them halfway and slot them just like with the saguaro cactus. This is a craft project that takes place in phases, so while my third cactus is drying, I can cut out the first 2 and make sure that I have the shapes the way that I want them, and then flip them over and paint the other side. I'm extremely impatient, and I started cutting out the cacti before they were even dry. And I did get paint on my scissors and all over my hands, but I got them cut out and that made me happy. Here you can see the bottom part of the first cactus that'll go down in the gravel. The really big problem with being impatient and not wanting to wait until paint dries is that when your front side and your back side are both wet paint, it's really hard to find places to set them. So if you choose to do it like I did, you can stick toothpicks up inside the cardboard and then stick the toothpicks into something, or if you can rest it into the pot or up against something else, then you can just keep going with the painting. The next part of the project's the most fun to me. Once everything's dry, you're going to start putting on the needles or the little spikes, and you can do this in a couple of different ways. You can use a marker, you can use a pen, you can paint with a really thin paintbrush, or any kind of creative way that you want to use to paint your needles onto the cactus. I should also mention that at this point, I didn't realize it, but the battery in my iPad died, and I just kept painting and doing my cactuses and not realizing that none of it was being videotaped. Technical issues. So I did take a bunch of pictures, and hopefully the slideshow and my explanation will help guide you through the rest of the way. For making slotted cacti, what you're going to do is you're going to cut a slot in the bottom half of the cactus going halfway up on one half, and on the other half you're going to cut it halfway down, and then you slot them together. This might be easier looking at the third cactus that I made. The slot goes in the top and in the bottom, and sometimes you have to cut out a small portion of it, not just cut a line down. Next, you're going to slot them together, see how they look. Put them in the pot, hold them together, make sure that it's the way you want, and then if you want to, you can put a little blob of glue to hold the pieces together. For the last cactus, the round one, I just put little slits into the smaller circles and added them with a blob of glue to the larger one, and then added on to those arms. I also made some little flowers out of cardboard. You can use rhinestones or pom-poms, or cut them out of paper, or use dried flowers and fake flowers and anything that you'd like if you'd like to add flowers to them, which is unnecessary, but it also looks pretty cute. My coworker Elvira joined me, and she made her own cactus, which is unique and different from mine. She made different shapes, and she actually did shading on them, which is really pretty. She did some spikes, and it has one arm that sticks out 3-dimensionally, and when she was all done, she decided she wanted a flower. So she found some glittery paper, cut out some flower shapes, glued them back to back onto her cactus, and she had a very adorable cactus that she was very happy with. The last step will be adding your gravel to the cactus in the pot. And I will tell you two things here. One, put something in the bottom so that the gravel doesn't come out. A piece of paper should be fine, or a coffee filter, something along those lines. Also, you're going to want to hold the cactus where you want it to be in the pot and slowly add the gravel all around the sides, taking turns. This will make sure that it does not bend or come out crooked. It will give you equal amounts of gravel all the way around. If you'd like, you can also wash your gravel first in a colander. That might be a good idea, but it is just fine as is, even though it's a little damp and sandy. If you didn't pick up a kit from us, or if you'd like to make more, you can always use rocks from outside, or you can put rice in the bottom and just put rocks on the top. It doesn't have to be completely gravel all the way through. Although we did buy our gravel from Home Depot, and it was only $3 for a very, very large bag. And here you have 3 perfectly harmless cactuses that will never stab you or die because you didn't water or give them enough sun. And we hope you enjoyed this project, and please share pictures of your own cacti when you finish your projects.